everyone, this is Chetan Singhal. Welcome to my channel Stat Shine, where knowledge shines to make you shine. In this video, we'll be learning different axioms, the axiomatic approach to define the probability. In my earlier videos, I've talked about theoretical approach and the experimental approach regarding probability. So please check out the link below for that videos and then we'll proceed using this axiomatic approach to define the probability. So we have discussed earlier that S is the sample space of a random experiment, right? I have discussed all these terminologies in my earlier videos. So probability P is a real valued function whose domain is the power set of S and range is this, right? So we'll learn each these terminologies one by one. So it's a real valued function, right? So what is function? So when we define f of x equals to x square, so this is a mathematical function, right? So if I put a value 1, I'll get 1 square, that is 1. So this value of x is known as domain, and the value of function, that is x square, that is known as the range of values. So I'll just put on these values, like f of 2 would be nothing but 2 square equals to 4. So this is 2, I would say, is the part of domain, the value of x, and 4 is the part of range. So right, so I define f as a function whose domain is say 0 say 2 and whose range would be say 0 to 4, right? This function if I define, so I'll just put it 1, so it's 1 square. I can put 0.5, so it will be 0.5 square. I know that if the domain is between 0 say 2, so the range would be 0 say 4, because I know x square, it would range from 0 to 4. So this is the domain, this is domain, the values of x, and this is range, the values of x square, right? So here what we have seen is a real valued function whose domain is the power set of S. So domain to range. So range is simply 0 to 1. This means the probability takes value. So this is the definition, that probability takes value between 0 to 1. And what is the domain? It's the power set of S. So what is this power set of S? Suppose S equals to head and tail. We toss a coin, right? And the sample space we got was head and tail. So what is the power set of S? Is nothing but the collection of all subsets of S, right? So what would be, so let us denote power set as PS. So that would be nothing but, one is say H, this is one subset, T, this is one subset, HT, this is one subset, and phi, this is one subset. Phi means empty means empty set. So empty set is always a part of any power set. So see, there are four elements in the power set. So this is 1, this is 2, this is H or T3, and this is 4. So these are single elements. This is basically both combined, H and T, and this is phi. So this is the power set. So P is defined as a real valued function whose domain is power set and range is 1, right? So we have understood till now. So now after this we have 3 axioms. One, the very first state, that's for any event. Event, what is event? Event is nothing but a subset, any subset of set S, that is a sample space, or we can simply say that any element of this power set. So for any event E, the probability of E is greater than or equals to 0. So this E is nothing but a part of domain, right? So we have seen that part of domain, E is part of domain for this function. The other one says that P of S is 1. What is P of S? S is nothing but, here if we see an example, this is the whole sample space. So this is the element of the a power set which is h or t. So if we toss a coin, either head or either tail, so we are sure that any one of those will occur. या तो head आएगा या tail आएगा, दोनों में से कुछ ना कुछ तो आएगा. So the probability of s, h or t, so that is 1, right? या तो head आएगा या tail आएगा, we know कि दोनों में से एक ना एक तो आएगा ही, so that is surety. So head or tail. So this is the probability of sample space is 1. So if E and F are mutually exclusive, so in my earlier video I explained what is the meaning of mutually exclusive events. So exclusive events mean that there is nothing common between these two events. So E and F are mutually exclusive events, then P of E union F is nothing but the probability of E plus probability of F. So these are the three axioms through which we can define the probabilities, right? So these three are nothing but the results or the corollaries of these three statements. So we have probability of each element of this sample set that should be between 0 to 1, because probability is greater than or equals to 0 and the probability of whole sample space equals 1. So that of each element the probability cannot be greater than 1. So we have each element's probability 0 to 1, and then we have this probability of omega 1 plus omega 2 plus omega n equals to 1. So we have probability of S, the sample space, equals 1, and these are our sample space, right? These are the outcomes or the sample points, and we know that each of these points are mutually exclusive because nothing is common between them, right? So if I write this W1 or omega 1 plus omega 2 plus omega n, so these are mutually exclusive events, and it states that probability of union of these two is nothing but this thing. So S is nothing. So if I write probability of S, so it would be nothing but probability of W1 union W2 union Wn, right? So one thing, so that would be nothing but probability of W1 plus Wn. So this is 1, right? So this follows from here only. And for any event A, the probability is this summation I goes from n, probability of Wi, which is Wi belongs to A, right? So we have earlier seen that its probability is a function whose domain is the power set of S. So if I am writing this probability of W1, so this means that this is a set, right? Domain is the power set of S. So it's the element of power set. So this is W1. So this is a element of power set, element of power set, right? Throwing a dice, we have this sample space, right? So this is like in this statement, this is omega 1, omega 2 and omega n. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what does this state? That probability of this 1 plus probability of 2, probability of 6 equals 1. So probability of each of this event happening, like coming 1, coming 2, coming 3, 4, 5, 6, that's 1. Because we are sure that any one of these will occur. So we can say that these events are mutually exclusive and also mutually exhaustive because they exhaust all the sample space elements, right? So this is the definition that how we define the probability using axiomatic approach, right? So we'll consider an example now. So consider example of throwing two dice, throwing two coins, right? So what is the sample space? HH, HT, TH, TT, right? So there are 4 points. So this is W1. So from our this definition of sample space, if I considered it omega 1, omega 2, omega 3, omega 4. So this is, we have 4 parts. So as we saw that probability is a function that we define from what's the domain is the power set of S. 0 to 1. Right, so there are 4 elements. So how many number of elements would be there in power set? So as a formula to remember, there are 2 to power n elements in power set, where n is the number of element in this S. So there are 4. So 2 to the power 4 equals to 16 elements. So just to write a few, it would be HH, HT, TH and TT. Then this is like the combination of 1. So taking 2, 1 would be this HH and HT, then HH and TH, and similarly then taking the combination of 3 and then taking the combination of whole 4. So the lastly we'll get S also the part of this samples power set, which would be nothing but whole sample space, and we know that P of S is nothing but 1, right? Because any of these outcome is surety that any of these outcomes will come, right? So we'll consider this an example. So now we just assign the probabilities of, say, probability of HH equals to something, probability of HT, probability of TH, probability of TT, right? So one thing we can do is assign equal probabilities to all of these, but it's not the case. Like we can assign different probabilities, like I do it 1 by 4, 1 by 4, I can do it this is half, right? And I can do it another half, 3 by 8 and 5 by 8. So this is how I have defined the probabilities. So I see that probability of W1, so this is W1, W2, W3, W4, the sum of all the probabilities sums to, sorry, this is 3 and this is 1 by 8, sums to 1, right? So this is half and this is again half, this sums to 1. So probability of S equals 1 over here also. So this is an example. So suppose I define an event E equals to this HH and HT. So means the first head, like I got a head in the first toss. So if I want to write the probability of E, that would be nothing but from here, if I say it is summation I goes from 1 to n, probability of this Wi. So Wi, one is this and one is this, right? So it is probability of HH plus probability of HT. HH is 1 by 4 plus 1 by 4, this is half. Suppose I want to calculate the probability of, I define E equals to HH and TH. So probability of E would be HH is 1 by 4 plus TT is TH is 3 by 8. So this is nothing but 5 by 8. So in this way we can define the probabilities of any event. So this is just an arbitrary example that I have put on. So we can have multiple. So here there is no assumption that we are stating that each event is equally likely, right? In earlier examples, in the theoretical or classical approach, we made an assumption that each of this event is equally likely. What does it mean? This is also 1 by 4, 1 by 4, 1 by 4, 1. So we have stated that probability, but here we can assign any probability to these numbers and calculate the probabilities of these events in this way, right? So this is the axiomatic approach. So we'll cover more variations of questions and examples about this in the upcoming videos. So stay tuned. Hope you have understood the axiomatic approach. If you like the explanation and the content, please subscribe my channel and like the video. Keep shining and thank you.